So here we are, smack dab in the midst of an AI invasion. Surely, don't call me Shirley, stock music has to be the first to fall. The low-hanging fruit, as everyone has predicted since we first heard of the AI invasion, the AI music coming for us all on the horizon. But what if, my friends, what if stock music wasn't dead? What if people like me, like others we know, maybe like you watching this show right now, what if we were still making music income monthly from MicroSync and stock music? What? There's just no possible way that could be. That cannot be right, you say. Not in June of 2024. AI is in full swing. Surely everything on Spotify and Pond 5 is AI by now. If it's not, it will be very soon. And by the way, they said the same thing in January, just saying. But miraculously, against all odds, I'm still getting money every 15th of the month and seeing sales that I just don't expect. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, that's impossible. That can't happen. There is no way that could happen.
We can't do that. But what if we could? But we can't. But what if we could?
What if we could indeed? What if we could still make money? And I hear you. You say, Eric, stock music? Really? There's nothing there. There's just absolutely nothing there, Eric.
But what if there was?
I love those clips. Well, I decided it was time. After a very obstinate, interesting, confused, and passionate response to last week's discussion over a Rick Beato AI video, to go pick some low-hanging fruit. You didn't know this was going to be a comedy and a magic show. Well, maybe it's time for us just to go and kind of see what it looked like. Well, welcome to the Make Music Income podcast, where we make a few people mad, make a lot of people roll their eyes, I'm sure, but hopefully, encourage thousands of you out there with outrageous statements about how I and you and others are making the music we love and making music income. My name, if you didn't know, is Eric Copeland. And even if you did know, it's Eric Copeland. And I hope you like what you hear on this channel. We have lots of education stuff for you, and we're always trying to figure out. And you're saying who is it? Do you have a mouse in your pocket? No, it's mainly just me. But a collective we at Make Music Income are just trying to make sure that you find out about all the ways that you can make a little bit of scratch, a little bit of money as you're making the music you love to make. And that's my goal. It's my whole goal in life. And so that's what I'm doing. And we have all of this stuff at our Make Music Income site. You can just go to makemusicincome.com/learn and learn. There's a lot of stuff to learn today. And as a matter of fact, in today's podcast, we are sponsored by an old friend, the Stock Market Course. That's right. Where, why, and how to submit your music to stock music licensing. Now, I have something special for you today. Today, this course is just $49. It's been $99 for a long time, but you know what? I've made a decision lately, and I've just decided that I'd like my courses and my ebooks and everything to be affordable for you, inexpensive for you, especially if you're just getting started in this whole thing and trying to figure out, how do I make money in this? Apparently, you can make money in this, and I'm here to tell you can. Boy, I just found out something before we went on air that I'll show you here in a little while that will show you that it is still possible. Things still happen. Don't know why. Why continue to sit on the fence of all of this? You've probably been watching my videos or someone else's videos about some kind of licensing, sync licensing, micro licensing, whatever licensing. Taking the music that you have sitting around on your hard drive, you know you have it. It's just sitting there. You released it years ago. You haven't done anything with it, but it could be just right for someone to use in their YouTube videos, in their presentations. I have music being used through stock markets, through stock licensing sites and other sites that are being used in churches and in documentaries and all sorts of stuff just because I put it up there. And you know what? There's a certain bit of just pleasure it gives you to know that your music's being used. Do you want your music being used? I want my music being used. So that is why I put this. First, it was an ebook. Now it's a course that I put together. This course is completely finished, has all sorts of extra stuff, the advanced version, you might say, that you could find at Stock Market. And so it not only talks about each library. Remember, I told you maybe a few weeks ago when I was talking about my other course that it didn't really go into detail about libraries because it's a little bit different in sync licensing. Well, not here. Not here. Where do I point? Not here. This one, I list all of the stock music libraries that I'm a part of, even ones that I'm not a part of. We're going to talk about a lot of those today, where they are in 2024, what is going on with all of these. And so you can get this, and it goes behind the scenes of each library, and you can see what it's like to be a contributor to these libraries. So go check it out. There's even a new module called Stock versus AI. So there's even something in there for that. So that is that. Go check it out at makemusicincome.com/stock market, or go to makemusicincome.com/learn for free stuff. There's free ebooks there. There's free videos there. There's so much free stuff. It's kind of sickening. And people are saying you're sickening. Well, then you're really not going to like the next part, because we're going to talk about my week this week. It's been a good one, actually, folks. This week has been very interesting. I've been in touch with 3 of my sync libraries. I did a Zoom with one of my libraries owners today this week. I've been going back and forth on email with several others and talking with them on the phone. And one of the libraries just listed me finally as a composer on their site, which is very cool. And I got some marching orders from a boutique library. And I was also informed that one song had been pitched just that day. It's a patriotic song we've been trying to get out there for a while. And he told me that he wants more. He gave me marching orders, so to speak, to make some new music in this style. And so you'll see some of that conversation coming up in another video. He was gracious enough to let me record it as we were talking. So I got to record it, and I will put that out. And you can get some insider information. I got a lot of insider information coming for you here soon on Sync. I got 2 more albums signed to my BMG library that I'm just finishing up both of those. And I'm working with my players and with engineers and with all sorts of people on songs for country advertising and ambient, and there's all sorts of stuff called marching band, Halloween, all sorts of stuff is happening right now. I have about 10 albums or more in progress and or finishing up. I am also been working this week on a video that I shot a couple weeks ago with Marcus Manderson, who you may know as Da Fingers. And I have to reshoot the beginning. After editing it, our conversation went in a different place than I thought it was going to go. But you're going to want to hear what this guy has to say. Amazing story of what happened to him with his BMI check this past month. So we're going to talk about that. And I did some work and made some decisions on my non-exclusive libraries. More about that later as we get into them. And then today, a big sale at Audio Jungle. I don't know if I've had a sale this big before. So we're going to talk about that. So today we may be getting even more outrageous and fruitless than a discussion about AI, which was very well and interestingly commented on last week. But we're going to talk this week about stock music licensing. I can hear them laughing already. I can hear you scoffing out there already. They're already scoffing. There's nobody there. So where to start, you say? Well, I want to start with some poll results I took this week. And yes, stock music. Yes, really. And you know what? Before we get started, let's just go and take a look here at who is here today with us. Arco is in the house first. Good job. Jess Smith here in the house. Louis Moore, good to have you here. Jess Smith says, it ain't dead yet. I think we all can know that. And I think by the end of this episode, you will know that that is true. Sheep says, with AI, I would be surprised if sync music is still a thing going forward. Well, I wouldn't be. Signature Music says, happy Friday. Your camera looks excellent. Ooh, thank you. I am always trying to get things better here. I hope the video clips worked fine. Actually, nope, I take it back. Places want to just pick music that fits, not go through the generative process themselves. I think that's the truth. To be honest with you, Sheep, I think that is the deal, especially, and also we've talked about this, and this isn't a sync show today, but we have talked about sync licensing and the fact that people really, that's a personal choosing thing, that there's all sorts of problems with AI as far as legal issues, and sync ain't gonna play that. Music supervisors are not going to go to a director, to a producer of a show and say, here's a song, not quite sure because it was, we found it on a site that does AI things. You think that director is going to go, perfect. He's going to say, that sounds like a lawsuit. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Jess says, get involved while you can. AI will probably kill these industries soon. Really? Well, I'm just not so sure of that. I think you guys give AI a great big, way more teeth than it has. And I know this is not a popular view. I know this is going to get a lot of comments, and people are going to guffaw, and they're going to laugh at me, and they're going to disparage me. The comments will be probably pretty rough, I would expect. Just like last week, we had a lot of crazy comments about AI. But guess what? Sheep says, once those lawsuits get knocked down, AI will be accepted. Yeah, like Napster. Okay. So I tell you what, let's not talk about AI anymore. That's the last AI comment I'd prefer to have, because today we're going to talk about some stuff. Willie makes a great point here. AI would have already killed photographers if that was the case. My daughter is out on a Disney shoot right now, and she gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning. She's working 70 hours a week. AI doesn't seem to be taking anybody's place just yet. And that photography and editing and all that stuff, that was a year ago when AI was taking over that world. And I talk to photographers now, and they're like, it was just a thing. And it's a tool, and we'll use it or not. So I think, guys, whether you know it or not, it's probably going to be that way here too. But today, we are going to talk about stock music. Really? Stock music. Yes, we are really going to talk about stock music. Now, I hear you scoffing again. Stock music in 2024 with AI in full swing. Well, what can I say? I just don't say no to free money. But that's just me. But guess what? You don't have to just take it from me, because we're going to look at some real polls that I took from real people that have nothing better, apparently, than to take polls. And if you're just getting here, boy, you're right here at the right time, because we're going to really delve into some information here. And I have something that every time people tell me that they can't make any money in stock, it's usually because either they haven't started yet or because they haven't put much up. And I've got some polls today that show us some very interesting information. So let's go to the polls, as they say. And I did 3 polls. I did 2 polls in each place. YouTube, my YouTube channel, Discord, where the diehards live, and that's a bit of a different kind of breed, and we'll talk about that. And then our community, our community streams. That is an online community. Come on in, the water's fine, and the water's free. Okay, so and it's all free, by the way. So okay, let's show these polls here. Let's talk about them and get into them and make sure this works here. So I want to first go. Oh, I forgot something. I forgot about the news. Dateline. On Friday, June 21, this is not actually today's news, but it is this week's news. And the first thing, let's see if this comes up right. No. The first thing that I want to show you is my screen. Well, I'll just show you my entire screen then. And then I'll just go here. And it's got to show you. All right, so this is Motion Array, which is a very prominent and well-known one of these so-called stock market libraries, updated their terms and conditions this week, and there has been much ballyhoo and much gritting of teeth over it, when really it doesn't say much different than it used to say. But of course, everybody sees AI around every paragraph. It doesn't matter what they're talking about, granting rights. Oh, you mean just you're going to grant my rights to AI? Make derivative work. Oh, you're going to make derivative work on my stuff for AI. You know what, folks? If you're so concerned, let me get back out of here. If you're so concerned about this, oh, wait a minute. Where am I? I have to just kind of look at the screen here for a second. If you're so concerned about AI, then likely you should probably just go do something else, because AI is going to be involved tangentially from now on in all things. And this stands for any business. You could really be, we're not going to get into AI again, but this is, I think this is something that we've got to just get over a little bit when we look at terms of service like this. And we look at terms of service where it's showing us that, and I'm not sure if this is showing up right, but when it's showing us these terms of service, and we are seeing this language. Well, guys, you can read stuff into any language. I even had people putting this into ChatGPT to try to figure it out. Isn't that funny? Asking AI about AI. I think that's pretty hilarious. But I don't think that much has changed in this. And I've taken some precautions in any case, and I'll talk about those today. We do have a little section about stock music and MicroSync and AI and stuff like that. But the news this week was that we had to sign this to keep going on a Motion Array. And I know I want to, because it makes me money. And so we'll talk about that here very soon. All right, back to the show now. Not quite sure why my screen is doing that, but that's the news for today. Let's get right back into this. And as I promised, let's move right to the polls. To the polls, Robin. So the first thing I want to do is go to, oh good, there it works. I want to go to this first poll on YouTube. Now this poll had, does it say how many people were part of it? Yeah, here we go. 100 votes, which is not a bad poll. 100 votes. How do I put me in here? I guess I can't. 100 votes, which is not bad. How much do you average, dollar-wise, from stock music libraries per month, including monthly averages from Identifyy, SongTradr, Artlist, and AudioSparx, because they pay in a different way. They pay on a quarterly basis or something like that, or in Artlist's case, a yearly basis. Well, let's look at the numbers here. And the numbers are pretty obvious. 71% of people make $100 or less in stock music. Now you might be saying, aha, that shows you that people are not making any money in this. Well, it shows me that 71% are making less than 100 is what it shows me. It also shows me that 29% are making anywhere from over 100 to over $1,000 in this per month. So that's really only about 30%. But here is the interesting next piece of this. And this is what I always come back to when I do these polls. And in all three places, I did these polls in a certain way. I made sure to go to the next question right after that, and that is, how many songs do you have in these stock music libraries like Pond5, Motion Array, Artlist, Audio Jungle, SongTradr, Identifyy, all these places? And as it happens, and as it always happens, the largest percentage of people have less than 50 songs in there. I've talked to you about this. More is more, and I'll be talking about this in the future weeks, but you've got to continue to put stuff in there. And I'm as guilty on this as anybody. I have not been putting stuff in here, and my income has stagnated a little bit. But as you'll see, only 53%. So that means over 47% or so are putting anywhere from have over 50. Many people, 24, what is that? 32% of people have between over 100 and some up 12% have over 500 songs in there. I would bet you that 12% is part of this 5, 4, or 9% that's making the income. The smaller people, the smaller amount of people, 15%. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, let me read these numbers for you. The people who are averaging, 71% are averaging 0 to 100. 11% are averaging $100 to $250. 5% are averaging between $250 to $500. That's me. 4% are making $500 to $1,000, and 9%, actually a bigger percentage than the previous two categories, are making over $1,000 a month. Even that there's 10% making that. And then for the second question, how many songs or files do you have in these libraries? 53% said 1 to 50. 15% said 50 to 100 songs or files. 12% said they had 100 to 250. 8% had 250 to 500. That's probably about where I am. And then 500% said 500 plus people said they had 12%. That was, or I should say 12% of the people said they had 500 or more. Okay, so let's get back. Let's talk about this for a second. So, hello? So that is where we are with that poll. And that's a lot more people answered the YouTube poll. And these people are people from all over the place. Yeah, give us a like if you like this information, because it really helps new people come and see this as we're doing it. And it also, if you're new and you just stumbled onto this, want to see how many people are making what, give us a like and subscribe to this video, subscribe to this channel so you can see all this information. I'm putting out information all the time. Sheep says, if the 10% with 500 plus songs are making $1,000 a month, that really isn't much revenue for that many songs. Do you not want $1,000 a month? Am I missing something? For 500 songs you put up that you had sitting around that are non-exclusive? I'm sorry. I don't get anyone who says, I made 500 songs. And guess what? They probably didn't make these 500 songs for these libraries. They probably made the 500 songs through the years, and they were not going to sync with them, and they were not doing anything else with them. They had put them up on Spotify. They're sitting around. Why not make $1,000 a month? Who doesn't want to make $1,000 a month? This is what I don't understand. And that's part of my whole thing today. All right, now I want to move next actually to Streams, which is our free lovely little place for you to come to. And I'll show you Streams right here. Streams is a place where you can come and be part of things. We have polls. We have all sorts of stuff going on there. And in this one, the first question was, how much money do you make? Same question, from all stock music libraries or sites. And 85% said $0 to $100. Okay, stick with me here on this one. And then, now there was only 7 people who answered this poll. So it was less attended. But let's take 7 people. 6 out of 7 make less than $100. But we move down and say, how many songs do you have? Well, 42% of them only have less than 50, and I bet you that's probably closer to 1 than it is 50. And then 2 of them have 51 to 100. And so at least, what is that, 70%, again, which is very similar to this number, 70% of them have a less amount of songs, under 100 songs in these things, and so they are making less money. I see a correlation as a person who's doing this between this. And for those, again, of you on the podcast, $0 to $100, 85%. And then the only other vote on this small poll was 14%, which was me, making $100 to $250. I went low on that one. And then how many files do you have in stock music? And 42% said 1 to 50, 28% said 51 to 100, and 14% said 101 to 250. And then some goofball who runs a podcast said 251 to 500 songs. I think that was me. So that is that one. Now, I want to now go, though, to the next one. And the next one is, these are the nerds. And some of you are watching this probably right now. These are the nerds in our Discord, and you can find the links to our Discord and streams and everything if you'd like to be part of these communities down in the comments down there at any time. But yeah, the nerds are a little different. You're going to see these 2 polls look really differently. And that's because the people who are in our Discord are longtime stock music believers and doers and still doers. And they're the ones talking about it. If you want some stock music conversation, come to our Discord. We are talking about stock music and sync licensing and AI and all that kind of stuff ad nauseum. It is all over the place. You're going to get a lot more probably than you even want there. Before I do this, let me go back to Ecamm here real quick and just put on this little thing, so that way I can, and let me make sure I'm out of the way of all the data. All right, so back to the data. I'm still in the way of the data. You're like, Eric, that was a terrible idea. Why'd you get in the way of the data? Let's come back over here. All right, that's pretty good. So nerds on Discord. This is 29 votes, so about a third of the people who answered on YouTube. 9 votes, 31% said 0 to 100%. Sorry, $0 to $100. That is how much they make per month. 31%. 21% said they make $100 to $250. Again, these are people really working on this. 14% both said $250 to $500 and $500 to $1,000. And again, a larger percent, 21% said over $1,000. Now, here's the interesting thing. You can see that's pretty close all the way around. And guess what? So is how many files they have. 0 to 50 files is 21%. 500 to 100 files is 21%. 100 to 250 files is 17%. 250 to 500 files is 21%. And over 500 files is 21%. So you can see it's very even here. This proves my point. The people who are doing this more are making more, and it's kind of more even here. And the reason that's more even, and the reason this poll on this Discord makes more sense and makes more should really show you more, is because these are the people who are really working at it. The people who are on my streams community, they're rather new at stock, and the people who were on our YouTube also fairly low on stock. They were. They're not people who are doing this a lot. So that's going to be the difference a little bit between the people who are putting a lot in and how much they're making. There's a correlation. And I know the more that I put in, the more that I make. And the more that I consistently put up to these libraries. And not just there, but Sync works the same way. The more you put in Sync, the more you're going to make here too. And so it works the same. It doesn't really matter what you are, what you're doing on anything. I mean, this goes for everything, everybody. If you're going to play gigs, the more gigs you play, the more money you'll make. The more you have on Spotify, the more you'll make. Everything is more equals more. And I think we've had this mentality since the 70s and 80s. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, and I have an insider who I interviewed yesterday in the Sync world who is going to blow some people's minds with her knowledge that she gave me yesterday. But anyway, we were talking about what it was like in the 80s and the 90s when it was all about getting hits and getting signed and all that kind of stuff and getting a publishing deal. And so we looked at everything as, when is that big hit coming? When is that big check coming? And everybody still kind of looks at things like that, even though it doesn't work that way. I mean, even back then, the people who did more got more. And I still think even in stock music, the people who do more get more. And I think this is the case. It's always been the case. So you say, I'd like to start with my music, with music licensing. Well, you've got to do something. You've got to find out where these libraries are. And if you want to find out where these libraries are, I do have my stock market course if you want to find out. It's in the information below. All right, so let's move on here now and talk a little bit about what if you said, okay, I'm going to give you a like on this video. I'm just going to give you a like. Giving you a like right now, Eric, and we'll see if I continue liking it. But that's because I want to take you into how to get started and really where the money is coming from for me. And I'm going to show you the money. Show me the money. I don't have a clip for that, but I'm going to really show you the money. Oh no, don't be so disappointed. It's not that bad. All right, so let's go back to our little display here, and let's take a look at my dashboard from, what's this? That is Motion Array. Let's go to Pond5 first. So this is Pond5. This is my, and the reason I say let's go to Pond5 first, this is my dashboard on Pond5, my financials, and it shows just 2024. Which is not as good so far as I think is last year. I can't remember. I've been watching the stats a little bit, and this isn't through June. I don't have my June numbers totally in here, and I'm not going to share a spreadsheet today, but I do want to just show you some things here. I think Pond5 is the best place to start. If we just go back to Pond5 here for a second and see what it looked like. To me, I think this is the best place to get your start for music. I think it's the best place. I have a whole video about Pond5. I'll try to link that below, but you can also go back and find it on my channel. It still is the same, pretty much, that video I made a couple of years ago. And people come here to search for music, for their projects, for their YouTube videos, for presentations, for church use, for school use. People are using this stuff for everything. This is not like Sync, which is for television and stuff, and they're wanting to get more and more stuff on there. This is for any kind of use, every project, just like it says here. And so if we go back to we get away from the dancing here for a second, and we go back to my financials, and let me call back up just this year. It's been a slower year, but they have very good ways for you to see what you sell. But I've had several people who have jumped right into this year, already started making money and getting sales. Now you might say, hey, I see dollar there. I see $3 there. I see $3.50. How much are you making on these things? Well, I change my pricing from time to time. I think nowadays I'm at about $9.99 on this particular site and $19.99 on another. You see, I have a newer, some things at a larger price. I think that was supposed to be, I got a sale during January. I did something where I put all the prices up, and guess what? I made bigger paydays. You can see where I was paid every so often, and they'll make a payout. Had a rather good payout last month of $41 on the 15th. And so that is, I just think, first of all, Pond5 is relatively easy to get into and to get your songs into. And secondly, it's probably the fastest way to get a sale, someone buying something from you. And you can say, wow, $1 something isn't much money, or $3 isn't much money. Really? How much are you making off every stream on your streaming, on your big Spotify account? How much you making there? And are those same songs just sitting around and able to be used? Do they work for TV and film? If not, maybe they might work better in a non-exclusive situation. And the beautiful thing about non-exclusive, and all these sites I'm going to show you today are non-exclusive, and you can use them in non-exclusive ways. And then guess what? The beautiful thing is you can take them down off Pond5 if you want to. And that can happen. You can take things down off Pond5. You can take things down off Motion Array. And then you can say, I've decided I want to pitch this to sync. Well, then go ahead and do that. So this is Pond5. I believe this is the first best place to start. The second place that I am at is Motion Array. And Motion Array is a place for, again, creative assets for your projects, and download unlimited royalty-free music. That's right. They can download unlimited music, and they can get as much music as they want. Now, the way you make money in this is that they pay you a certain percentage of how many downloads you have. So the more downloads you have, the more you make per download. It's not quite as lucrative as it was back in the day. As a matter of fact, let's go back to where we were a minute ago, which was my statement. And we were looking at, this is what I pretty much make every month. $80, $70, $80, $80, and $90 last year was, actually I'm doing a little better this year on Motion Array than I did last year. And so that is one thing that is up. Now, it's nothing like the good old days. As you can see here, I joined, and my first check was $171 and $390, then $441, then $371. This is how I was able to do a video called $0 to $600 in stock music, because a good part of that was some of these big checks that I was getting, and I was shocked. I'm down now to getting close to 100 every month. And that, again, this comes on the 15th of every month, paid just like a paycheck. And so I've got this being paid. I've got Pond5 getting paid. Sometimes I have Audio Jungle. And speaking of Audio Jungle, let's talk about Audio Jungle for just a second. Now, if you're not familiar with them, they are a site where you can also get royalty-free music and sound effects and music packs and all sorts of stuff. And people can go in there and search different kinds of music that they want. All these sites, you can do that. You can search different kinds of music. And so, yes, I have my stuff up there, but I want to show you what I just saw today. I saw that I had a couple more sales. And you may say, 102, that's not very many sales. And you're right. Sorry. But it has been a nice week on Audio Jungle. And we'll talk about the problem with Audio Jungle for you here in a moment. But if you look down here, I had a Chopin Minute Waltz arrangement I did. Get a music and broadcast film license. In a couple of these things, Pond5 does this too. You can sell a larger license. They will have someone who obviously wants to use this for some kind of broadcast and film use and pay $320 today, June 21st. I haven't seen one of those for a while, but still, and I only get 100. I get whatever after 176 of that is, so 180. I get 100 and something for that, 150. And so that it has my earnings for this month at $211.50. And so, and I think I have some on account. They've recently changed the way they were doing things. So I will get a substantial check on the 15th. The 15th is going to be very, very good to me in July. So that is going to be $211.50 plus whatever I'm going to make from Pawn 5, which I don't think I'm up to. I'm only up to $8.75. You got to be at $25 to be paid by them. But we still got a long time because they'll keep selling until the 15th, and I'll get paid whatever I have on the 15th. So there might be a payment from there, and there definitely will be a payment from Motion Array. You get some really cool stats on Motion Array where you are right now. So I'm at about $40, but this will, as you sell more, you go up other levels and you get more percentage of the sale, or of however much they calculate the song to be. So I would imagine this will be $8,200. So we're talking already about an easy $300 to $400 month next month just off these 3 sites alone, and there could be other things. All right, so I've been talking a long time, and I know some people have had some things they wanted to say. Nick B is in the house. How's it going, everyone? Long time. Glad you're back into it, Nick. If you have any questions that you want to ask me about them. I'd be happy to answer any questions as I continue to go through. As I continue to go through all this stuff. And if you like this information, if it's helping you, put a thumb up. All right, so let's get back to a little bit more. I want to show you a few more libraries that continually make me money every month. Already, we're at $300+ for next month, which is good, which is a good month. And every month something different pays out, and if you're part of lots of libraries. And that's the kind of beautiful part about all licensing, is the more you get out there, more is more. And I think I showed that with the polls. More is more. You put out more stuff, you get more money. And this stuff just comes in month after month. It's like the 15th is a second payday for me. And so, because I do all my client billing on the 1st, but then on the 15th, I have a check from the school, and then I also have all the checks from this. And so it becomes a whole nother 15th income. If you would like another 15th income, you might want to take some of those songs sitting on your hard drive that you're being so precious about and not doing anything with, and maybe put them in some libraries. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be mean, even though it sounds kind of mean, but I'm not really being mean. All right, let's finish up here looking at a few more sites. Let's look at SongTradr. SongTradr is a place that I make a lot of money, and I do need to move myself on this one because I want to get out of the way. So that didn't put me out of the way. Let's go down in the corner. So SongTradr, I get lots of different kinds of royalties from them just because they do some distribution for me. They do, that's not a big part of what they're doing, but they do some different albums. I'm on some like compilation albums. Overhead radio usually pays off pretty good every now and then. I think I made over $100. I talked about that a few months ago, or last month maybe, where I did really well and got some money from SongTradr, which that was that month's $100 or $200 that kind of brought some stuff in. SongTradr is a little different in the fact that it's not necessarily where people are going for stock music for their songs, for their YouTube videos or for their presentations. SongTradr does a lot of different things. Everything from people who go there looking for licensing for film and TV to people who need stuff for overhead radio, for overhead at businesses where they're playing like music. And I've heard my music on overheads at places like that. But you can see it's some consistent income. A lot of dollars continue to flow in all the time that eventually you can take that money out at any time. Right now, I have a $1.61 balance, so I don't want to withdraw that. But I did do a withdrawal of $43 here, and then I have a couple other accounts with them. And so The other thing I have started with, I'll tell you about that I've started with SongTradr, is that I have started a new thing that they have. Well, it's not new, but I have started something new with them, a new venture with them. And if you go to their monetization options, this is where the secret sauce of SongTradr is. This isn't about stock, but there is a stock opportunity, and it's right here. And that is licensing your music with story blocks. And if you found story blocks hard or impossible to get into as a library, this is a way to get them. If you don't know what storyblocks.com is, it's another Envato. It's another kind of site in a similar way to Pond5 or any of those, Motion Array. And so they have music on there, but you can't really get in there. And the only way that you can really get in, as far as I can do, is you can opt in to this program to get your music selling in stock music. So what I'm going to be doing for the rest of 2024 is I am going to be using SongTradr. I know this is a big step. You ready? I'm getting ready to use SongTradr as my YouTube monetization instead of Identifyy. And if you're listening to Identifyy, I'm sorry, but you've been paying very little lately. And so if it doesn't matter what it does, I could now get 2 new incomes from SongTradr. Content ID income that I'm usually get from Identifyy, which I'll still get for all the songs that I have on there. But I'm going to start putting all my newest stuff on SongTradr under their Content ID. So I can also get into Storyblocks and then be in another music library and hopefully have 2 more incomes coming in on SongTradr. This year, I also doubled down and decided to pay for SongTradr instead of using an old free account that I had. And because I did the math last year, and if I had paid the full, it's $49 a year for SongTradr. And if I had paid that, I would have made more than if I didn't pay that, because they take a bigger percentage of whatever you make when you don't pay them. So I decided to pay them. And so far, it seems to be paying off. And we'll see at the end of the year, math-wise, how it works. But I would bet you that I will have made more by getting 80% of everything rather than only 60% of everything. So we'll see about that. So that's SongTradr. SongTradr is always up there on my list of things that makes me money every year. Also, AudioSparx is another place that I make some money. But as you can see, and we'll just kind of zoom in here if we can, this is more like streaming. There's a lot of streaming plays that they do here on this site. And so you get a lot of streaming and income. But it all eventually adds up. If you look at so far, my quarterly payment last month, I think was $40-something. And so it adds up per month to, I don't know, $5 or $10. Now you might be saying, $5 or $10? Who wants $5 or $10? Dudes, all I had to do was put these songs in that site along with all the other sites. Why not add another $10 to the kitty every month? And then sometimes I've had a couple of sales on this site that have been $100 to $200 sales. Now, I will tell you that I have switched over to using their AudioSparx thing. If I'm only going to get mostly streaming, I'll just go ahead and do that. That makes it completely non-perpetual and non-exclusive. It was already non-exclusive, but it wasn't non-perpetual. You put it in there, you couldn't get it out. So what I've decided to switch over to the AudioSparx and just do their streaming thing and continue making this $10 to $15 a month from them. So I only include them because it's a consistent income. And then another consistent income for me is Identifyy, but it has been pretty paltry so far in 2024. Again, a lot of my videos, I think people, to be honest with you, I think people are getting the hang of clearing claims on YouTube. And so I think that's what's happening with YouTube and with the claims. I think people are really figuring it out. So I think that it's starting to be something that is, I don't know, I could be wrong, but to me it feels like that we are getting to a place with stock music that it's getting to a place where Identifyy and Content ID, people are figuring that out. They know what to do in order to clear claims, and they clear them. And so it's been down for me. So I don't know if it's been down for everybody. No Days Off says, what's your criteria for putting your music in the various stock libraries? I'm glad you asked that. I'll go ahead and answer that now. I want to show you. Let's see. Do I want to do that now? I'll do that in just a second. I do want to first. I want to show you a couple of other libraries that that should say something else. That are what I call also rans, and I am in these libraries, but I'm not seeing much from them. So there's a lot of them that I could go to and show you. And I'm just going to name them here. And that is Motion Elements, which is one that I really don't make anything off. VFine, 123RF, 100 Audio, Jamendo, Infinity, The Music Case, Deposit Photos, which I did get a sale the other day for 1 penny. Dreams Time, Music Revolutions. These are a bunch of sites that I've tried, and I've either made money and they haven't paid me yet, or I haven't made any money on them, or very little money. I think 123RF did send me a payment one time, and I'm waiting for a payment from Deposit Photos of about 30 or 40 bucks. So those are also rans. I also have other non-exclusive sites that I like, including Crucial Music, which is really more of a film and television library, but it's non-exclusive. I've already talked about SongTradr, and then MusicSupervisor.com, which really is also more of a sync site, but you can treat it like a non-exclusive. It's all non-exclusive, so you can put your music in there and take it down as you want to. All right, so let's get to the question that we just had from No Days Off. What are your criteria for putting your music in various stock libraries? And I do want to talk about that, actually. I want to talk about, someone else asked me, is this work? Is there a lot to do? We'll talk about AI in a second. Is it work? Yes, it's work. I spent some time this week putting stuff into Audio Jungle, especially a bunch of classical stuff, just because I just really felt like I needed to get more of those in there. They were on the list. I was wondering why are they not all on there? Because I've found classical stuff to be very lucrative for me, like lots of sales from people looking for classical songs. But you know what? There's also this. I don't know if you get this, and if you do understand this feeling, give me a thumbs up on this video. That when you're putting your songs into these libraries, it's almost like an investment. It's almost like at some point, this is going to make me $10. This is going to make me, or in today's case, $100 and something, $120 something or so for doing a Chopin arrangement that I've sold on many other sites, and that continues to rack me up plays on Motion Array and Pawn 5 and other sites as well. And it's like you do it once, and it pays back again. It pays in dividends. That's why when who was it who said this up here? I can't remember. Somebody said something about, revenue or whatever, but it just continues to add to the kitty every month. And I don't even expect it. I didn't expect that Chopin piece to just suddenly jump out there and make an $120 sale. Or it actually was a $320 sale, which I'll make about I can't do math today, but $150 or so, or no, something like that. But I made that on there, and I'm telling you, this is something that we can't ignore. We especially if you're just saying, I don't want to do sync licensing because it's exclusive and it's too much work, it's too much networking, it's too much this, it's too much that. That's totally up to you. And you've got music. Why aren't you just putting them on these sites? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Cloud9 talking about Identifyy and AdRev. Just a heads up, Identifyy sometimes doesn't pick up everything. I've tested this. That's how I found out. It's good to know. Obviously, you can't put the same songs on both AdRev and Identifyy and SongTradr. You can't put it everywhere. And so Cloud9 also says, I made money on deposit photos. My highest month was $700. What is your what is the secret there? And he also said that deposit photos lowered their threshold. And yes, I know. And I'm still waiting for a $35 payout, by the way. But yeah. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Always great to have you here. Mark is a tireless worker in this and is always, like me, trying to come up with different ways to make music with his income. And he has another job. This is a fun thing that he does with his music. So congrats on all the success you've had lately and stuff. So Cloud9 Music says, oh my gosh, this is true. It's really like an investment. It definitely is an investment. And Jess says, exactly, it's worth it. It's work, but it's worth it for passive income. And I especially after today, I did that work one time. I did that Chopin arrangement one time 2 years ago. No, I think I did last year. I did a whole bunch of piano sonatas and I put them out and they just, it's one of my things that I like to do is make classical music and orchestral things. And it's working. One time made, fun to do. And then I put it up on these sites. Does it take a little bit of time? Yeah, it took me some time. But 2 days ago, I just could not get my brain in music mode first thing in the morning. It was just like, well, I said, I'm just going to do some entering of these songs into the stuff. Mark, you know what I'm talking about. And anybody who is somebody who's put stuff into these libraries, sometimes it's actually therapeutic a little bit, just to sit there and do the work. It's like doing work on Excel sheets. If you're a nerd like me, it's just fun to do. Cloud9 says, that is correct. I had some songs on Identifyy and some on AdRev, but not both. Wanted to see which one was better. How has your AdRev been? I'm also interested to see how SongTradr does because they tend to do pretty good at lots of things. They are just a company, and I think they're owned by Bandcamp now, or I can't remember who bought them. But they are a company that does a lot of things well, and I keep making money there. So AdRev, Identifyy, I know there are some other places you can do. Up until this year, Identifyy had been the place to go. Also, to be fair, I know producers who make money on Identifyy and some who make money on AdRev. I know some people who were on AdRev made nothing, and then they switched to Identifyy and they started making a lot. And if you don't know what Identifyy or AdRev is, again, Identifyy is a site, and AdRev, these are places that collect content ID income from when your songs are used legally or illegally on YouTube. And so, especially illegally, they can catch uses. But I think it's getting, I don't know if it's getting easier for people to claim them, or the process is so easy now that I just don't know if how it's going. But I know that has not been as big of a income for me. Cloud9 says SongTradr has been pretty good for me too. So SongTradr, y'all, don't sleep on it. All right, so let me continue on. Here they are. Okay, so earlier I was asked, I'm finally going to get to what I was asked. Who was it? No Days Off says, what's your criteria for putting music into various libraries? I didn't make a thing for this, so I don't have a thing. But here's my criteria for putting my rules for stock, so to speak. Okay, so let's just change the name of this to rules for stock. And this is how I decide to do them. This is how I decide to do stock music, if I am going to do them or not. And stock is really not the greatest term for this. Actually, the better term for this is micro-licensing, because it really is just a small licensing. But stock really defines it, because they define themselves as stock libraries of video, of audio, of pictures. But first of all, I've changed some of the ways that I'm going to put stuff on stock libraries or on SongTradr or on things like that. SongTradr is a little different, because sometimes I'll put some things on there that I might like personal stuff and art music, because it might be used in different ways. But I'll tell you this, I've taken all my personal music down from stock music licensing, like my personal art music, like my music that I put out on Spotify as an artist or that I put out. I'm taking all that down from stock. I don't know what the implications of AI are, and I don't mind if they train off all the public domain stuff I put up or the arrangements or the hymn arrangements I do or some of the songs that I made that were very, very stock sounding. You know, they sound like music that would be behind a YouTube video. I don't care if they train off that. I just don't care. But if it's, and usually those type of songs, those little throwaway, so to speak, ditties that sound good behind a music video on YouTube, they fit better on stock than they do on sync anyway. So I'm going to keep those stuff in there. But my personal art music I'm taking down, I will pitch that to sync, and I will put that on my entire sync catalog. I'll put all of these songs on my catalog. Some of them are non-exclusive, some of them are exclusive. But my rules are pretty much, and I've changed my rules too. I really now only focus on those libraries that are going to bring me money. The possibility for that $320 sale, I want where I'm likely to make money. For me, unfortunately, I wish Cloud9. I wish that I could make money off deposit photos. I wish I could make $700. But so far, and of course, I haven't put stuff up there in a while because they lost all my files twice. So I have never made $700 on that site. I haven't even made my first $30 on that site. So guess what? I'm not going to continue to put stuff up there. So my other rule is if it's not making me money and it hasn't ever made me money, and I've put 50 to 100 songs up there, until it start making some money, I'm not gonna put anything else up there. It's too much, especially the ones that are really a lot of work. Some sites are a lot of work. AudioSparx is a lot of work. SongTradr is a bit of work, but again, SongTradr brings me money. So that's some of my rules for stock and why I will or will not do them. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to say is it's all licensing. All of this is licensing. I make a lot of music and it has to go somewhere, and it might as well bring in $100 to $300 a month, right? I mean, I might as well get a $300 check for that music that I made. To be honest, all the classical stuff I made for sync and I pitched it around and nobody was interested. So I put it into my non-exclusive libraries for now. I can always take them down. Problem is I have registered some of them with Identifyy, and so I don't think I can pitch those now, but it doesn't matter. I can make more. And I want to make those songs. They got to make money for me somewhere. Get out there, minions. Make me some money. All the other, and I have a whole separate bunch of stuff that I make and I pitch to sync or release to Spotify, or all of the above. Sometimes I will pitch stuff to sync. I'll release it. And sometimes it gets in sync library, sometimes it doesn't. I've had albums that did not get in, and so I release them to my non-exclusives. And here's the beautiful thing. If you do put stuff in Pond5 and you're making money there, and you put stuff in SongTradr and you're making money there, and if you put stuff in Motion Array, you can always examine that. And if somebody wants to use it in sync, all you have to do is pull it down. Almost all the sites, if you're careful, AudioSparx is one that you can't. There might be a Identifyy is one that you are in a 3-year deal, but you can pull all the stuff down and pitch it to sync if you want to. So why are you? It's all licensing. You're licensing it over here non-exclusively, or you're licensing over here exclusively. It's all licensing. It's all good. So why not do it? It's all part of my catalog. When I show my catalog off to supervisors and sync agents and libraries, I show them all my songs. They can see everything. If they tell me, ooh, I could really use this song, first, hopefully, I hope I can make a non-exclusive deal for it where I don't have to take it down from any library. I can just make a straight deal. Or they can say, we want to bring this into our library. And I think, okay, this library rocks, and they bring me other income, and I'm getting a lot of TV stuff with these. Shoot, I'm going to leave these on. So it's all licensing. It all works. And I'm telling you, it's something that you should pay attention to. All right, let's face the AI elephant in the room and talk about this and say something. And Rob Green says, "Hey, Eric, hey, let's talk about AI." But what about AI? You're saying AI. Everyone is freaking out about this. No one is saying, by the way, put every song you have made on here. In other words, if you have great stuff that you are planning to pitch to sync and you don't want it on there, don't put it on there. It's as easy as that. Maybe just put your throwaway stuff on there, stuff that you never imagined. I have been paid for songs that I made 20 years ago, 10 years ago, before I even knew about either of stock or sync or any kind of licensing. And maybe you work on public domain songs. I love to work on arrangements of public domain songs. I love to reimagine and redo classical tunes and hymns and old popular songs that are in the public domain, patriotic songs. There is so much. That's all kind of my wheelhouse. I love to do all that kind of stuff. Maybe you put songs up for fun that you just make and that they don't fit sync libraries. They don't fit TV really. Although I've been told recently that every song can fit in sync somewhere, can be used for licensing. So, but I just, so you're saying, how does this mean with AI? Well, here's what it means. If you're concerned about AI, then only put stuff up there you don't care if it trains on. And also most of the libraries now, Envato, which is, if you're lucky enough to be in Envato Elements or Audio Jungle, you can opt out, which I did. If you're in Pond 5, you can opt out. If you're in Audio Jungle, you can opt out of any of these libraries as far as being trained, having your music trained on AI. They're just trying to come up with a solution to go along with all these other AI sites. As I've been predicting for 6 months or more that eventually all of these stock music sites will have an AI component that's built in. And if your music is part of that, you might be able to get paid for that. But if you don't believe in that, then fine, no problem. Just don't put your music up there. Just don't put the music that you don't want being trained on there. Personally, why do I care if they train a Chopin song on AI? Because I didn't write that in the first place. It's not my baby. What if they take one of my arrangements of a public domain song and they use that melody? Well, it wasn't my melody in the first place. So I'm not sure I care about all that much. And I'm not sure that it's a big worry for me that AI is going to get into all my business there. But guess what I did do? I took down my personal music because I didn't want that stuff being trained on anything. So I'm in a process of taking down all my personal music and just doing more music to put on these things. I will tell you another thing that I'm doing as a kind of a rule of stock, or something I am doing for stock. What's a good title for this? Another rule is I am doing more. I am making music again for stock, but it's basically non-exclusive music that I'll pitch everywhere. I'll pitch it to Crucial Music. I'll pitch it to SongTradr. I'll pitch it to TV and Sync. I'll pitch it everywhere. But it's also non-exclusive and can go in all these libraries. And most likely these will be arrangements. I like to do a lot of arrangements of sacred music and of hymns and things like that. I like to do a lot of piano work that I'm not too concerned about. That is probably public domain work. I like to do a lot of patriotic music. Patriotic music in the States is the gift that keeps on giving. Just like Christmas music is another one. Thanksgiving, Halloween music. I love doing Halloween music. All of these things, they're all kind of derivative anyway. So if they derive something from them, who cares really? My more important music, I'll save and put up myself. So this is why that I think you're like, again, stock music, really? And I have to say, yeah, all I can say is it keeps bringing me money every month. I can't walk away from that. And you might be saying, well, you don't know everything about all of this stock stuff. Well, I'll tell you what I do know. I'll tell you what I am the absolute authority of. Me. And me makes $100 to $400 a month in stock music. If you don't want that, don't do it. But if you have a bunch of songs sitting around, which most of you do, or you want to make a bunch of music, but you're not sure making songs for TV shows or making trailers or making cinematic music for film is for you, this is a great place to start making music and dipping your foot into licensing. I've said it for years and I still believe it. It's just what I believe. And if you're making music and can make music with your DAW, I would suggest going right to our friends at Pond5 and making some music there and getting there. I make a lot of music and I have to put it somewhere, and maybe you're like this too. So remember, it's all licensing, folks. And remember that today's podcast has been sponsored by the Stock Market course, where, why, and how to submit your music to stock music libraries and MicroSync and Sync. Now, I've lowered the price, so it's easy for everybody to get. It's easy for everybody to find out about all these libraries and how to apply to them. And let me know what you think. I would love to help you with this. You can find out more at our website. Just go to our website, and everything is there. I got to close some things here. But yeah, come on in and join us over at Streams. Join our Discord. We're talking about all this stuff all the time. Subscribe to this channel. I'm always talking about ways to make money. Next week, we kind of get back into sync licensing a little bit. And I've got other things coming up and production things coming up. And so lots of information. Great. Surprising guests that I've been able to secure some video with lately. So more than just me chatting for an hour about possibly fruitless things. Hold on just a second. I'm getting a call. Hello? I don't know. No answer. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching today, and make sure to check out the description below for more free and helpful stuff at our website. And just let me know if I can be of any help. Leave comments below. Be nice. Only nice comments, please. And I hope you got some valuable information and tips today to help you make the music you love. Please make the music that you love, and then make music income. That's about all I got for you. Let's see if we have any other comments here before we go. Let's see here. Rob Green says, money is money. Agreed. Walt Williams, hey, good to see you. Great thoughts on AI. Also, it's crazy just to leave money on the table when stock is paying. It's still paying, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to tell you. Jonathan Carlos says, great show, Eric. Have a great weekend. Same to you, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. Cayman Biz says, great content. Thank you for being here. Everybody, thumbs up if you can before you go, and make sure you subscribe if you're new to this channel, because most people don't subscribe. But that's cool. You can come and go as you please, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just concerned that you make music that you love to make, just like I do all week, and then get it out there for people to download and use. And so we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for everything, everybody. And we will see you next time here on the Make Music Income Podcast. Thanks so much. See you later. Bye-bye.